Hey, it's Mr. Johns. Welcome back to this second episode of non-Lego modular buildings. I'm talking about these amazing modular buildings that Lego designed, and I'm specifically talking about the non-Lego version of them. Now, if you didn't see my first episode, I would recommend you go back, just scroll down, look for the one that says Cafe Corner. Non-Lego modular buildings episode 1, and we talk about the very first modular that came out in 2007. So what is a modular? Well, they require some advanced building techniques. I question that just a little bit. They're made for ages 16 and up, and I think a 12-year-old could handle this no problem, but I'd say a preteen or younger, these would be maybe frustrating and a little too much. So over 2,000 pieces in each kit, that's a lot. Some of them are pushing 3,000 pieces. So it requires some patience and attention to detail. Each building can attach to each other, which is really, really cool. And starting in 2007, there was one new building released each year. Now the exception, and you can even see in the picture here, it's the second one right here. Some people say it doesn't even count. It's in a whole nother category, but it is a modular, and it's called Market Street. So the first one was Cafe Corner, and it had no interior. The second one was called Market Street, pretty basic, also no interior. And the one that I'm going to talk about today is the one that I just finished building today, Green Grocer, which was the very first one that have a fully detailed interior. And so several reasons that I go with a non-Lego brand. I know a lot of people have a problem with that for sure. There's no difference, right? Except for the bricks don't say Lego. But are there some ethical issues? Probably so, right? I mean, these are exact copies of Lego designs. I don't know how they get away with it. So ethical on my point of view too, on my side of things. Like, am I supporting these companies that are knocking off Lego? I guess I am really. But bottom line is they're plastic toys, they're plastic bricks. There are companies in other countries that make them, and I can save a ton of money and have a wonderful time building these things. If they didn't exist, I couldn't afford it, right? So these kits start off about $150 if you can catch them when they're new in the store. Afterwards, they go up to somewhere around $3,000, and there's no way I'm going to pay $3,000 for a 2,000 plastic pieces, right? They're just little plastic squares, rectangles, parts, pieces, not worth $3,000. I think the original price at $150 is probably pretty fair, pretty good. So if you were around in 2007 and started buying them every year, then good for you. I think that is the way I would have gone too. But I unfortunately did not get into this hobby until after the fact. So now I'm just playing catch up. So I would also not recommend building without getting light kits. The lighting, as you can see from this picture, changes everything. And I've built kits from every one of these companies: Light Telling, Brick Loot, Light My Bricks, and there's a few others. And Brick Loot, I just tried them out a couple kits ago, and by far my favorite, and cheaper. So I got the last one for $40. It had 87 lights, and comparable, I think Light Telling version was $80, and it had, I think, 69 lights or 70 lights, but it had fewer lights and it was twice as expensive. And so I'm always looking for the best deal. One thing about Brick Loot, the directions are online and they're easy to follow. And that was one of the things I really liked, not just the price, but the quality is the same, it's very high, and the directions were easier to follow. Light Telling comes with a little booklet. You can hardly read it. You can't see the pictures very well. You have to go try to find some online stuff to help you out. Brick Loot makes it very, very simple. So you plug it into a either a battery box, or you can plug it into a USB receptacle that's plugged into a power, like a outlet, and light your whole city up, which is so very cool. So a little more information about these modulars, that they make them all compatible. So to do that, they made one stud wide light gray tiled curb, a dark gray tiled sidewalk, a couple metallic gray grill pieces that look like storm drains, and then they have one white. Every one has a white lamp. And if you buy the lighting kit, you just replace the glass globe with the one that has the light inside. And there are 7 studs between the street and the building. And you can see from this picture, they all snap together. They all have like little receptacles on each side, so you can snap them together if you choose. And so they're all lined up perfectly. All the sidewalks line up perfectly. It's just a beautiful design. So Green Grocer is the one that I just finished building today, and I wanted to share it. Instead of waiting for my Market Street kit to show up and for me to build that one, that would be in chronological order, which is the way I like to do things. I'm going to go ahead and just jump into Green Grocer. This is set number 10185. It was the 3rd modular. Again, a little questionable whether Market Street counts as a true modular. I think they were trying to do something different, but they now count it as a modular. 2,352 pieces. There are 3 floors, 4 minifigs, and it had a lot of really cool features like striped awning, opening doors and windows, detailed interiors. I mean, that was the big thing. That was the first big change. Was like people were like, wow, there's a fireplace and a grandfather clock, and there's a cat and a mouse and cheese and a lot of interior stuff, which is really cool. And a roof terrace, a fire escape, a rear courtyard, and some of the interesting pieces they use: black skeleton legs and hammers used to make railings, black spear guns are used as the railings on the fire escape, and there's a paddle used as the pendulum on the grandfather clock. The lobby includes stairs that go upstairs to the apartments, and there's a mailbox down there. And then the roof terrace includes a grill, table, 2 chairs, 1 umbrella, and 2 flower pots. There's a cat that is watching for the mouse, but hasn't caught him yet. Now, one thing that is really cool about these kits, you can build them however you like. I mean, there are directions, and I follow them. I want to build them as accurately as possible. In this particular build, I chose not to use, there are some hammers that you snap in place at the very top up here on the roof. I chose not to do that. I just left, and I'll show you the picture here in a second. I just chose to leave that part out. Not that big of a deal for me. You can also choose where to put the mouse, where to put the cat, that kind of thing. And there's always, as they progress, these modulars included more and more little stories and little hidden surprises and secrets, which make it very, very fun. So the original price in 2008 was $149.99, so $150. Okay, worth every penny. However, once that was retired and you had to buy it from collectors, buy it online, the cheapest I could find on eBay was $990. It had been opened, and a lot of times they've been built, and you can either buy them built, or they usually take them back apart for you, mostly, and throw them back in Ziploc bags and mail them to you. That'd be $1,000. And then the most expensive one I found was $3,200.38, unopened, basically like new. And no way am I going to pay that much. I'm not going to pay $1,000 for it. So mine, $105. I purchased it from Big Brick Store, so that's my favorite source. I have, again, tried multiple sources, different companies. This is not a manufacturer, this bigbrickstore.com. They basically look for the best prices and the best materials, the best kits, and then you can buy multiple. If you look at the picture here, this is made by a company called Lion King, and there's others like Lepin and others that are all kind of doing the same thing. I bought the light kit from Brick Loot for $40.44, so the total cost was $145.44, which is $3,000 less than an unopened official Lego kit, and $5 cheaper than a official Lego kit back in 2008. So it's a great price, and I think that's about what it's worth when you think about it. I have not done so, but if I were to average, so what are there, 200, I'm using my calculator right now, so if you were to take 2,300 pieces and divide it by $105, they're 22 cents a piece, okay? 22 cents for each little Lego piece. So, you know, figure the math out. You get 5 pieces for $1. Okay. Now, if I'm going to pay $3,200, divide that by 2,300 pieces. That's $1.40 per piece. So that adds up quickly. So again, another reason why I'm a fan. So building it, you start off with 2 plastic plates. This is what it all looks like when I open it up. It's in plastic bags. They're numbered. In this case, they were numbered 1, 2, and 3. So there are, bag 1 was for first floor, bag 2, second floor, bag 3 was for the third floor and the balcony, the terrace. And then I basically open it all up and kind of take a look at what I've got. I highly recommend you don't just put them on a table. You will lose pieces. So I recommend you put them in a plastic tub right away. And whether you like to divide them by color or whatever, that is up to you. That's kind of a personal preference. But I do end up, typically on bigger builds like this, I'll have maybe 4 or 5 little plastic tubs. Then I'll put all the black, all the gray, all the green, all the yellow in different tubs. Make it a little bit easier to get through them. So in this case, though, I had all of bag 1 just kind of laying on the table. It was a Friday night, and I was excited to come home and build some Lego. So here is the rat, the mouse, and the cheese on level 1. He ends up kind of being under the stairs, so he's kind of hidden, which is funny because later the cat, the cat's trying to find him, but he can't. So one thing I love about this, I don't research the kits before I build them. I don't know what's in them. I mean, I know what it is. I know it's a grocery store with some apartments. That's all I know. I do that on purpose because my favorite part of this is the architecture, is laying this down. And I'm looking at this going, okay, what is this? Like, okay, this is the front door, I assume, right? And then there's like some kind of tile. So this is probably the area that you can shop in if it's a grocery store. Otherwise, I don't know. Like, I don't know what it is. And that's so fun because you unveil, you discover this stuff as you build it. So here I am an hour or 2 later, and I've got like shelves full of food. That's what this is supposed to be. Canned food and like boxed food, I guess. And then some little, I don't know what these are. They could be, use your imagination. They could be donuts, whatever. And then over on this side, now I'm like, oh, okay. So it looks like there's the door that goes up to the apartments. Here's the mailbox. I went ahead and used a little bit of glue, and I glued that letter. That's another thing I can do and don't care. I'll throw out reasons to buy non-Lego stuff. Like, I'm not going to resell this for $3,000 ever. Okay. A, I can't. It's not Lego. B, I glue stuff together, right? C, I don't want to sell it. I'll give it to somebody before I sell it. So the money part of it is not my thing, which I love. Like, there are people who keep these in boxes, and I've seen on YouTube and people's channels, they have entire rooms full of unopened Lego kits. More power to you if that's what you're into, but you're missing the point, in my opinion. It's like a Hot Wheels car, which I collect also. I open them up right away, even if they're worth $300, and I play with them. Right? It drops the value. I don't care. They're toys. So that's my personal philosophy. But everybody does it their own way, and that's perfectly fine. But I just couldn't stand looking at a room full of unopened, unbuilt Lego kits. The whole point is to build. So I took a little drop of super glue to glue that letter in so it doesn't fall out later. Not a big deal. I think that's cool. I also glue the minifigs down, which people are like, huh? No. But I do so they don't fall over. Because you have a big city of these buildings, and the minifigs fall over all the time if you don't put them down on the on the bumps, right? Put them on the bumps. So here is the another view. I got the vegetables out, got the apples, got the cherries, got the bananas, got the croissants here, and I've got some carrots. This is the cash register with the clock above it, and then I got the glass doors on the refrigerated portion there, which is so cool. So here's what it looks like. I got a little Boy Scout coming in the front door. I glued him down, glued his hand on the door so it stays that way. Got a little guy with a top hat looking for the perfect apple, and then a woman walking her baby down the sidewalk. I love the little so simple, but I love the fact that this looks like a fire hydrant. And then here is the light. So you've got two little lamps that are hanging by the door, which we will light up later. So very cool, which is the next thing I do. So when you're doing a brick loot lighting build, you build it layer by layer. Sometimes you have to take things back apart a little bit, but it is better to build it layer by layer instead of taking apart the whole thing later and try to do that. It's a disaster. The goal is to build it without seeing the wires. Not always possible, and I'm getting better. My earlier builds have wires everywhere because I get lazy and I don't want to have to take everything apart. But it's a good challenge. I think it's a fun challenge to try to hide the wires. So here we go. Here's layer one. You can see there's a wire up here inside. Okay, that's okay, but no wires are visible. There's one right there. I see right there, and I don't think I could have hidden that any better. But I did take some of this apart, and you hide the wires up, in, and under, and through. You have to be real careful you don't pinch them, okay? These are wires, so don't just squeeze them between Lego pieces. You will cut the wire in half, and you won't have light. So I'm getting a little bit better at that as well. I've done that, I think, once. So looking pretty good. And then around back, this kit, you can also see there's some very bright lights around the back door as well. And then there's some barrels, a trash can, and some ivy growing up the wall. So moving on to level 2, you can see that we've got a kind of a fire. That's going to be a fire escape. I didn't know what that was until I started building and going, oh, fire escape. Once you start putting it all together, and then this is you recognize this right away from building these. Like, this is where the stairs will come up to this level, and then as you build it, like, oh, okay, there's going to be a fireplace on the left side. Not really sure what these red things are yet, but these look like little balconies, perhaps. So as you keep building, like, oh, nice curtains, like red curtains, and you've got kind of a fancy railing thing going on here. So this is a nice apartment. It is not fully furnished. There really is no furniture. This picture shows where I chose to put the cat. So he's kind of like behind the stairs, he smells the mouse, and he's trying to figure out where he is. He's actually like 2 floors below. And so it's just a game of cat and mouse. It's a game of cat and mouse. So other than that, you'll see a fireplace on the other side of that traditional fireplace with a couple tools hanging off to each side, which is very cool. And so then I did the lighting and put the second floor up on top of the first floor. And one little thing that I do, these kind of do snap together a little bit, but they bump off pretty easy. So once I get them on, I take some clear tape and I tape nothing on the front, but I tape around the sides and the back so it holds the whole thing together. And if I ever need to get in and do anything inside, I can just take a hobby knife and slice that tape and open the building back up again. But that keeps it all nice and snug together. So floor number 3, building some floor pieces, flipping them over to add some supports. And I'm looking at this going, okay, I see the opening for the stairs. I don't know really what this is, or maybe our rug. And then I see something here, which I didn't know what it was until I built further. I also didn't know what this thing was because it pivots. It pivots down and up. And I'm thinking, okay, this is one of those secret little things where you can launch somebody out the window or something. But no, it's just, I looked it up. It's a radiator. It's an old-fashioned heater where they pump water through it and they heat it up and it makes the room warm. So it's just kind of an old-fashioned way of heating the room. And the thing that I was building on that wall was a grandfather clock, which what's interesting is on the first floor there's a fireplace. Okay, so where'd the fireplace go? So that's a little detail that I was wondering, still wondering. I think that's. I don't think it can be both. I don't think that's a fireplace. Like if there's fire going up that, it's a grandfather clock. So interesting. I think it was an interesting choice, but the fireplace ends up jumping from the first floor all the way up to the top, which I'll show you in a minute. So here's the tub I'm talking about. I just threw it all in one tub this time because there weren't that many pieces. And it's just easier to dig through a tub instead of chasing pieces all over the floor. Here is the third floor with some really cool architecture here, some different shapes that give that these little pyramid shapes, and then these actually fold open and close. That's something you'll see a lot on this type of building. They actually fold out and fold back in again, and nice looking building. And then I realized, okay, I've got more lights. So here's what the light kit looks like. This is just for the third floor. And I don't think you can see the plug in. Here it is right there. Right where my mouse is. That's the little plug. It's way smaller than anything else I've seen, but it works great. I assume small is good when it comes to trying to hide wire. And although that plug is usually outside the building in the back somewhere, but it works really great. So I basically flipped this over, and I did have to do kind of a deconstruction and a reconstruction. It says, it said to take off a few pieces, but I ended up just taking the whole wall off. And then I just didn't want to do it wrong, so I ended up taking every part apart and rebuilding the whole wall. It was just better. A lot of detail here. I love all these little pieces. They're going to slide in between these architectural pieces, which I was so excited about. That's just something that, I don't know if Lego design it thinking about lights. I don't know that, but whoever does the lights figures out where they can put the lights, and that's genius. So here's what it looks like from below, and so you can see all these little squares. They're gonna just add this cool little subtle light effect, and they're not as bright. You can see these ones are meant to light up the entire third floor. So you've got a big one here, a small one right here above the stairs, and then these will be above that room. So cool. And that's what it looks like from the front. So it gives it this nice yellow kind of glow, just super cool. I could not hide these wires very well, but once I put the roof on, it does hide that better. So speaking of roof, at this point I thought I was done. I'm like, yes, I'm finished. Then I realized there's a roof also, and it's not just a simple roof. So I'm like, okay, after 2,300 pieces, or probably about 2,100, I'm like, okay, I think I'm ready to finish this up and get this displayed. I had to build this rooftop, and so as I'm building it, I'm thinking, okay, there's a door that allows you to come out to this patio. So here's these pieces I was talking about over here. The directions say to turn them the other way, and then put hammers, which I've got a bunch of them over here on the right side in the picture, to put hammers between each one, and the hammers end up being kind of like railings. Well, I decided no one's up there anyway walking on this part of the roof, and I think these look really cool as just a decoration, like an old-fashioned iron kind of decoration. So I just left it. So we got two people sitting here underneath this umbrella. We've got two flower pots hanging from the railing, and then this is a grill, a barbecue, which opens and closes, which is pretty cool. Nice little touch. So 2,352 pieces later, this is what the entire thing looks like, all lit up and built, and I'm so happy with it. So worth the $105 plus the $40 for the lights. So worth it. So if you get a chance, check out those, the Big Brick website and the Brick Loot website for other kits like this. They've got a lot. Some of them are sold out, some of them are not. So what will I build next? I'm not really sure, but I loved every minute of this one. So I hope you enjoyed the video. This is a positive review for this kit, and it's going to be a nice addition to my Lego city. For now, Mr. Johns is out.